Before you relax, I want you to ask yourself something uncomfortable. Why is she still on your mind if you're not on hers? That tension you feel right now, that quiet uncertainty, it's not random, it's psychological. And today you're going to see what most men completely miss. But before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe and like this video, because what you're about to hear might change the way you see every interaction you've ever had with her. Listen carefully, because women rarely say what they feel directly. Not because they want to confuse you, but because attraction for them is often expressed in signals, not statements. And if you don't learn to read those signals, you'll walk away from someone who is silently choosing you. The first sign she's always thinking about you is subtle, but incredibly powerful. She finds reasons to exist in your world, even when she doesn't need to. You'll notice it if you're paying attention. She doesn't just randomly show up. There's a pattern. Maybe she suddenly appears where you usually are. Maybe she joins conversations she normally wouldn't. Maybe she lingers just a little longer than necessary. And here's the part most men misunderstand. It's not coincidence. It's emotional gravity. When a woman is thinking about you constantly, her mind starts aligning her behavior toward you, without her even realizing it. She's not forcing it. It feels natural to her. But from the outside, it looks like coincidence layered on coincidence. And you might tell yourself, it's nothing, I'm overthinking. That's your fear talking. Because accepting that she might actually like you carries risk. It means you might have to act. It means rejection becomes possible. So instead, you minimize what you see. But let me be very clear with you. Women don't repeatedly place themselves in a man's presence unless there's emotional interest. Indifference doesn't create proximity, curiosity does. So when she keeps orbiting your space, when her presence feels just a little too consistent to be random, don't ignore it. That's not her being available. That's her being drawn to you, quietly, deliberately, and more often than you think. There's another sign, and this one confuses men more than almost anything else, because it doesn't look like attraction at first. In fact, it can feel like distance. She pulls back, but never disappears. You send a message, she replies, but not instantly. You try to get closer, she opens up, then suddenly becomes a little harder to read, and you're left there thinking, if she likes me, why does she act like this? Here's the truth most men were never taught. When a woman is thinking about you often, when she actually feels something real, it doesn't always make her move closer. Sometimes it makes her pause. Because attraction creates vulnerability, and vulnerability, especially when it's genuine, can feel dangerous. She starts asking herself questions she won't say out loud. What if I like him more than he likes me? What if I get hurt? What if I lose control of how I feel? So instead of rushing forward, she regulates. She creates small amounts of space, not to push you away, but to protect her emotional balance. And here's where men get it wrong. They interpret that space as rejection, so they either chase harder or they shut down completely. Both reactions break the natural rhythm of attraction. What you need to understand is this. Inconsistency is not always a lack of interest. Sometimes it's a sign of internal conflict. She's thinking about you, more than she expected, and she's trying to stay grounded. Watch her pattern, not isolated moments. If she truly wasn't interested, she wouldn't come back, she wouldn't re-engage, she wouldn't maintain even a thread of connection. But if she pulls away and then returns, again and again, that's not confusion. That's emotional investment trying to find stability. A woman who doesn't care becomes silent and stays silent. A woman who thinks about you might step back, but she never fully lets go. And if you're patient enough to see that pattern without reacting emotionally, you'll start to realize something powerful. You're not chasing her. You're already on her mind, more than she's willing to admit. There's a moment, subtle, almost invisible, where her curiosity about you turns into quiet observation. And if you're not paying attention, you'll completely miss it. She watches you, even when she thinks you don't notice. Not in an obvious way, not in a way that screams for attention. It's controlled, almost careful. You'll catch her looking, then she looks away quickly. Or you'll feel it, that strange awareness that someone's attention is on you, and when you turn, it's her. Most men dismiss this. They assume it means nothing. But psychologically, this is one of the clearest indicators that you occupy space in her mind when you're not around. Because observation is investment. A woman doesn't study what she feels nothing for. She doesn't track your behavior, your mood, your reactions, unless you matter to her on some level. And when she's thinking about you often, her mind wants more data. It wants to understand you, predict you, feel closer to you without exposing herself. So she watches. She notices how you talk to others. She picks up on your tone, your energy, the way you carry yourself. She remembers small things you've said, things you don't even realize were important. And here's what makes this powerful. She doesn't do it consciously. It's instinctive. Her attention keeps returning to you because something about you feels unresolved in her mind. You've triggered curiosity, and curiosity, when mixed with attraction, becomes focus. But here's where you need to be careful. If you confront it directly, if you call it out too early, you break the dynamic. Because she's not ready to admit it, even to herself. That quiet observation is her safe space. It allows her to feel close without risk. So instead of exposing it, you acknowledge it silently. You hold your presence. You remain grounded. You let her come to you at her own pace. Because when a woman is watching you like that, when her eyes keep finding you without reason, it's not accidental. It means even when you're doing nothing at all, you're still on her mind. There's something else she does. And this one is easy to overlook because it hides behind something that feels ordinary. She remembers the small things about you, the things you barely remember saying yourself. You mention a random detail once, maybe something you like, something you dislike, a story you didn't think mattered. And days later, she brings it up again. Not in a dramatic way, not to impress you, just naturally, as if it stayed with her. And that's the point. When a woman is always thinking about you, your words don't just pass through her mind. They stay there. They echo. They replay. She connects them to other thoughts, other moments, building a quiet understanding of who you are. This isn't effort. It's attention driven by emotional interest. Because people only remember deeply what they revisit mentally. Think about that. If she recalls something small about you, something insignificant on the surface, it means she's been thinking about it when you weren't around. Your presence didn't end when the conversation ended. It continued in her mind. And most men completely miss the weight of this. They hear her mention something from the past and they brush it off. She just has a good memory. No, it's selective memory. And selective memory is emotional. She might not text you all day. She might not always show obvious signs. But then suddenly she references something you said a week ago, and you feel that moment of surprise. That's your evidence. Because indifference forgets. It moves on quickly. It doesn't store details that don't serve it. But interest, real, growing interest, collects pieces. It builds a quiet archive of who you are. And here's what makes this even more important. She's not doing it to impress you. She's not performing. In fact, she often doesn't realize how revealing it is. To her, it just feels natural to remember. But to you, if you're paying attention, it tells you everything. You're not just someone she talks to, you're someone her mind returns to, again and again, even in your absence. And once you understand that, you stop questioning whether she's thinking about you. You start realizing she already is. Now, this next sign, it's one of the most misunderstood because on the surface it can look like nothing or even the opposite of interest. She reacts to you emotionally in small, unpredictable ways. Sometimes she's warmer than usual. Sometimes she teases you. Sometimes she seems slightly irritated over something minor. And you sit there thinking, why is she acting like this? I didn't even do anything. Exactly, that's the point. When a woman is thinking about you often, you stop being neutral to her. You start affecting her emotional state, even without trying. Your presence carries weight. Your words land deeper. Your absence is noticed more than you think. And emotion, doesn't always come out clean and controlled. It leaks. A small joke from you might make her laugh more than expected. A delayed reply might shift her mood slightly. A simple comment might trigger a reaction that feels bigger than the situation. It's not about the moment, it's about the build-up behind it. She's been thinking about you, replaying conversations, wondering about your intentions, feeling something she hasn't fully defined yet. So when she finally interacts with you again, all of that unspoken energy comes to the surface. And that's why her reactions feel layered. But here's where most men make a critical mistake. They take it personally. They assume her mood shifts mean they did something wrong, so they either become defensive or they try too hard to fix it. And in doing that, they lose their emotional stability, which is exactly what she's unconsciously observing. Because while she's reacting, she's also watching how you handle it. If you stay grounded, if you don't overreact, if you maintain your calm presence, you become even more attractive in her eyes. You show her that her emotions don't control you, and that creates a sense of safety she doesn't even realize she's looking for. So don't be confused by the inconsistency. Emotion is not the opposite of interest. It's often proof of it. A woman who feels nothing for you stays emotionally flat. But a woman who thinks about you, who's trying to understand what she feels, she won't always be predictable. She'll be human. And that unpredictability, if you learn to read it, reveals more than words ever could. There's a shift that happens. Quiet, almost unnoticeable at first, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. She starts finding ways to continue the interaction, even when there's no real reason to. The conversation should have ended, but it doesn't. She adds one more question, one more comment, one more small extension that keeps you there just a little longer. And it feels casual, almost accidental, but it's not. Because when a woman is thinking about you often, interaction with you becomes something she wants to prolong. Not in an obvious, needy way, but in controlled, subtle extensions. She won't say, "I don't want this to end." Instead, she shows it. Through delayed goodbyes, through unnecessary follow-ups, through messages that don't really need a response, but create one anyway. And here's what most men don't realize. Effort isn't always loud. It doesn't always look like long paragraphs or constant attention. Sometimes it looks like small, intentional decisions to keep the connection alive. She could have ended it, easily, but she didn't. And that tells you everything. Because attention is currency, and people invest it where they feel something. If she's giving you moments she doesn't have to give, she's choosing you in ways that aren't obvious to everyone else, but should be obvious to you. Now pay attention to how she does it. Does she ask questions that open new topics right when things slow down? Does she respond in a way that invites you to continue instead of closing the conversation? Does she linger, even when there's nothing left to say? That's not habit. That's interest trying to stay connected without revealing itself too directly. And here's the deeper truth. She's not just continuing the conversation with you, she's continuing the feeling. Because when she walks away, that feeling doesn't immediately disappear. It stays with her. And the longer she can keep the interaction going, the longer she gets to experience it in real time. So when she stretches those moments, when she keeps the door slightly open instead of closing it, don't overlook it. You're not just someone she talks to, you're someone she doesn't want to stop talking to, even when she pretends it doesn't matter. And now, the final sign. The one that ties everything together. The one most men feel but don't fully trust. She gives you access, in small, controlled pieces. Not everything at once, not in a way that feels overwhelming, but gradually, she lets you see parts of her that she doesn't show to everyone else. A personal story, a small insecurity, an opinion she doesn't usually share, something real, something unfiltered. And when it happens, it feels different. The tone shifts, the energy softens. There's a moment where the surface disappears, and for a second you're not just interacting with her, you're connecting with her. That doesn't happen without thought, because vulnerability is never random. When a woman is thinking about you often, when you've been on her mind beyond your presence, she starts to feel a level of familiarity with you. Not because of time, but because of mental and emotional repetition. You've existed in her thoughts enough that you begin to feel safe, and safety is what opens the door to depth. But here's what you need to understand. She won't give you everything at once. She'll test the space. She'll reveal something small, and then watch. Not just your words, but your reaction, your tone, your ability to hold that moment without breaking it. If you dismiss it, she closes again. If you rush it, she pulls back. But if you receive it calmly, if you respect it without making it heavy, she opens a little more next time. And that's how real connection builds, quietly, layer by layer. Now step back and look at everything you've seen. Her presence around you, her subtle distance, the way she watches, the details she remembers, her emotional reactions, her effort to continue, and now, her willingness to open up. These are not random behaviors. They are patterns, and patterns don't lie. So if you've been questioning whether she's thinking about you, whether she actually likes you, stop looking for a single obvious sign. Look at the whole picture. Because the truth is, if you see yourself in these moments, if you recognize her in these patterns, then you're not imagining it. You've already been on her mind, long before you had the courage to admit she's been on yours.